the one chance, maybe not going in the back of the
Well,
net.
I mean, look, of course, everybody has a game plan when they play against Manchester City. But in the first half, in particular, I thought we were just too passive. Yes, you wanted to set a defensive organisation, but I think still you've got to do more with the ball. And I didn't think we did enough of that in the first half. We surrendered the ball away a bit too cheaply. And when you're playing against teams like this, you can't make this type of mistake we have done for the penalty. It's unfortunately we've given a poor penalty away, which I mean it's difficult enough because of the ability they've got. And I think that's the disappointment. Second half we were much better and brighter, and the change in the system helped us. And yes, the big turning point, could we have made it a really good cup tie if we had equalised? Who knows whether we would have been able to go on from there, but we were certainly better in the second half and made a cup tie of it.
There was a 15-minute period where you had them going backwards rather than forwards, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, we had to be a bit more aggressive in our approach to them. I mean, I'm not mean, we've got to be better with the ball and cause them a threat. And we were better when we went to a back four. And the reason why I went to a back four about 6 weeks ago was because of that situation. But against Man City, it was, can we stay in it as long as we possibly can and catch them on the counter attack? And that was the plan.
And how was the dressing room afterwards? Was there a feeling of opportunity missed? I know City had lots of possession and created lots of chances.
Yeah, they're going to. Look, they're an outstanding team, and you've seen that when we tried to press them in the second half, where the second goal is you sometimes just have to applaud the pass from, I think it was Laporte. They're a quality outfit, and as I said, we make a fist of it in the second half. We made it a bit of a cup tie for long periods. It didn't feel like that because of the no supporters and the way the game's played these days. But second half, I was much more pleased with us.
Steve, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Miles Stafford, Shields Gazette.
Off the pitch, can you tell us anything about Mark Gillespie? Reports he's agreed a 3-year deal.
Yes, that's correct. I think it's been signed in the last 24 hours. So we're delighted to have him on board with. Just goes to show he's delighted. He's here as a youngster, went away and played some games, so we welcome him back.
Chris Conway, ITV Times.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Just to sort of pick up on the question about the cup tie and the mood of the dressing room afterwards, how was Fabian Shaw?
Well, he'd be disappointed. It's he'd be frustrated and disappointed, and of course he has to burden that. It's a mistake, blatant mistake. I don't know why, but that's what happens in football. And the one thing when you do against Man City is you need to be your defenders to be concentrating, and concentration was key to it, to the way we played. And when I look back on it now, it's it was a poor challenge which he didn't have to make.
Luke Edwards, Telegraph.
Hi, Steve. I might have behaved a little bit badly writing my match report. Instead of all the games we've had back since lockdown began, that felt like the most pointless. What should have been a proper cup quarter final was turned very sterile, really, and not a proper FA Cup occasion. How would you respond to that? It must have been difficult, given all the FA Cup games you've played in.
Yeah, it's difficult, and today as well, to make them a cup tie, there's got to be a bit of physicality in it. If we're not careful, we can't see a tackle anymore. As soon as there's a challenge or there's any sort of confrontation, then it's difficult to put up with at times. But that's it. As soon as there's any physicality in it at all these days, and you're right, Luke, and especially in the first half in particular, we were too sterile and we were too passive. Okay, go back into your shape and try and hit them in the counter attack. But we had to be a little bit more, aggressive in our play towards them. Second half, I thought we did that for a period of, 15, 20 minutes. Got the big chance in the cup tie. It would have been probably a hell of a cup tie if we'd have got it. But 2-3 minutes later, they open you up with that quality that the big teams have got.
Lee Ryder, Chronicle.
Hi, Steve. obviously getting knocked out, massive disappointment. But 7 games to go. If someone had offered you top 10 and the last 8 of the FA Cup at the start of the season,
Yeah, of course.
you know,
Yeah, but yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, we'll see how we are. We've got 7 games to play. We'll put ourselves in a decent situation. And unfortunately, we weren't quite good enough against a very good Manchester City team. It's quite unbelievable when you look at who's left in the competition. That it's 4 of the big guns as well. So there's becoming a bigger gap between the top for me and the bottom of the Premier League. That gap seems to be growing. And when you look at who's won the FA Cup in the last 20 years, I think you'll see that it's probably most of the big clubs that go on to win it.
Scott Wilson, Northern Echo.
Hi, Steve. Probably just on the back of Luke's question, really. I mean, Newcastle supporters have waited 14 years for a cup quarter final, and then Sod's Law one comes along and they can't be here to watch it. I mean, what would your message for them be tonight? Because they'll probably.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no doubt at all. There's no doubt at all. It's bad enough playing Man City with 52,000 mad Geordies shouting their heads off to give us a bit of encouragement. There's no question that we wanted that, needed that to be at 6:30 on a Sunday night. That would have been terrific, but it wasn't to be. And when you're playing against these teams, you really need your crowd to give you a lift. And of course, we're unique here. And it would have been a marvellous occasion. And but it's not the case. And supporters or no supporters, we were too passive in our first half approach. We were better second half and made it a cup tie. And it would have been interesting if we had took that big chance, which you have to take when you play against these big teams.
Sorry, Chris Conway, ITV Time-Tees.
Steve, you talked about the supporters there. Obviously, it looks like your team is safe in the Premier League for another season, out of the FA Cup. The only thing supporters really care about now is the takeover. How important is it that is clarified one way or another sooner rather than later?
Well, I think for everybody needs a bit of clarity, of course. And if I'm led to believe it is the Premier League that has stolen all of these negotiations, then they've got to come and make a decision sooner or later. Because it's not, you're right, it's not healthy for anybody. So, but look, as I said, for me personally, we've got another game Wednesday. We'll give ourselves a wonderful opportunity. We can't use that as an excuse, but we need a bit of clarity on it and put to bed one way or the other.
Any further questions?